Well, hello there, and welcome to this episode of the Terri Show. And this is one of my newer Q&A episodes. So you guys are writing in questions, and I am answering your questions. So before we get into it, if you happen to be new here, hello, welcome. Introduce yourself in the comments because we are really friendly around here. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon so that you get notified every time I roll out something new, which is every Tuesday and every Thursday. Since I create all of this content for you, I wouldn't want you to miss it. All right, let's jump into your questions. First question says, my question is, how do I stop putting everyone else's needs above my own? I'm definitely a people pleaser and find it hardest to speak up for my needs when I visit my parents and brothers in another state. I come home from those trips exhausted and often resentful. Okay, so I wonder if any of you listening or watching can identify with this. So let's just talk a little bit about how going home, quote unquote, they love to say like, you can never go home again. Well, we do go home again. And when we do, a lot of times we slip back into old behaviors. And this is super common. It's not just you, person who wrote in. It is all of us. It's very easy when you get back to sort of the scene of the crime to fall back into old behaviors. And a lot of times there's peer pressure to do so as well. Where if you were the overfunctioner, high-functioning codependent, let's say, of your family system, and you did everything for everyone, but you've changed and grown, your parents and your brothers' expectation of you may be sort of stuffing you back into a role that you really no longer fit in. So my advice to you is get really clear about the last time you went home, exactly what happened, whose needs were you putting above your own, what were you doing, how did you get sort of sucked into that old behavior, and then I want you to really, for the next time, right, this is where proactive boundaries and planning can be so crucial to your success. So make a plan for the next time you're going to go home. Maybe you need to spend less days. Maybe you need to stay at a hotel instead of in the family domicile. Maybe, there's different changes that you can make, but get really clear about what you're feeling resentful about, because we have to take responsibility for the fact that you are actually putting your parents and your brother's needs above your own, right? I mean, nobody can make us do that. We are doing that, right? And I say we only because I understand all too well. So I think you have to take responsibility for what you're doing. And then the deep dive is understanding why. So I hope that was helpful. Let's handle the next question. How much time and how many chances does a person deserve before you give up? In my relationship, our process gives new meaning to 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Ugh. I want to set boundaries, and I have. I've experienced some success, but the problem is that he is not someone who will pursue it, so I end up alone either way. I've practiced distance and detachment, as per Harriet Lerner, who I love her work, and he was seemingly unaffected. Either distancing or detaching, or what I call begging/pursuing, either way, alone. Which of course I'm mad about. Who wants a husband who won't show that they care if you leave the house without saying anything? I actually think he needs to read your book, Terri. I recognize this is his behavior. He uses body language, but I need words. But strongly believe his personal growth is and should be on his side of the street. I want him to be as invested. I understand I can't change him. Could I have been this wrong in my partner choice and now could cost me my family? Just writing that paragraph, it's exceedingly clear. I need to set my biggest boundary yet. Get help, grow, and join me, or I will leave the marriage. Can this be true? Yes, it can. So let's talk about this. It can be true. It sounds like you might be at what we used to call, I used to be a talent agent, negotiating contracts for supermodels and celebrities. And we used to call this place where you get to, like an impasse, that you're at a take it or leave it, right? So some people would say, are you giving him an ultimatum? And I love how people think that ultimatums are like a dirty word. They're like, that's a terrible thing. Here's the thing. Sometimes we give people ultimatums because we cannot tolerate being treated a particular way. So we're not trying to control them. A deal breaker of a boundary is about us. us deciding what will I tolerate and what will I not tolerate. That's basically what a deal breaker is. So my feeling is, from what you've said, you have really, really tried. And listen, some people spend their whole life doing this and never getting satisfaction, but they're very attached to that cycle. And it doesn't sound like that's you. The thing I want to answer is, could I have been this wrong in my partner choice? Here's the thing about when we get partnered and who we are now. I fell in love with my husband 25 years ago, but we were already older when it happened. So I'd already had a lot of therapy, and so had he. But when we fall in love when we're younger, which is what I have the feeling this is your situation, we haven't really done a lot of work usually. And so a lot of times we're repeating what we've seen, modeled behavior in our family of origin. So here's the thing. Don't beat yourself up about who you chose. If you have children with this person, you were meant to have those kids. Like, coulda, woulda, shoulda. Forget it. Like, we are here now. So the question is, what is the most productive thing now that will bring you closer to having what you want in life? And it sounds like letting your person know how serious this is, and how if it doesn't change, and if he doesn't take the initiative to work with you, and you can invite him, get into imago therapy with me, which is a type of therapy, many of you have heard of it. Harville Hendricks and his wife Helen created imago therapy, which is all about effective communication, which it sounds like that's what you need. You can even buy a book and see if he'd be willing to read it together. You can invite him in, but there gets to be a point where you're done inviting and he's got to want to do it, And it might take you leaving for that to happen. And perhaps you'll reconcile, who knows? But that's my 2 cents. I feel like you have to do what you have to do to save what is left of your life, so to speak, and not to be dramatic. But honestly, if you're frustrated, if you're constantly feeling like you're trying to get his attention, another thing is, have you figured out what you're repeating? Because I would absolutely venture to guess, but an educated guess, this is somehow familiar. So answer the 3 cues for clarity that I created. And you guys listening to this, I'll put all of this and my answers in the guide, terricole.com/guide. So what are the 3 cues that we ask when we want to understand, why am I in this situation? Who does this person remind me of? Number 2, where have I felt like this before? Number 3, how is the way I'm interacting with this person familiar to me? Right? The push-pull, the chase-beg, as you said, right? How is that familiar to you? Did you witness it with the adults in your life? Did you experience it with an ambivalent caregiver? There's lots of different places where this pattern could have originated. So I think there's something really valuable in answering and journaling those questions and see what comes up for you. All right. I hope that was helpful. All right. The next question I'm answering on today's Q&A, and you guys, if you want me to answer your question, please send it, and try to not have it be 44 paragraphs, please. It can be a little backstory, but make the question itself concise. Send it to support@terricole.com, because I would love to answer your question if you have one. All right, this is from MD, which says, I want to start by saying how much I appreciate your post about mourning changes. I'm going through something very similar to that right now. Everything you said was very insightful. However, my question is how to deliver that news to the other person. I'm having difficulties in my relationship. We have a lot of things tied together financially and familial. We don't have kids, but we live together, and we do pretty much everything together. How am I supposed to say that I'm unhappy when he's giving me everything he can, but what I want is more? Am I being selfish, materialistic, or narcissistic? How do you tell someone that you love intensely that the love there is not enough? Well, here's the thing. There's a lot of assumptions. What you're talking here, you're making all these assumptions. How am I supposed to say that I'm unhappy when he's giving me everything he can? well, you're not him, so you actually do not know that that's what's happening. He may be acting in good faith. But I think you have to get really specific about what's missing for you. Is it just that you've fallen out of love with this person and you love them in a family way, but you don't love them like in a passionate way? Do you want to try to get the passion back? Like, you weren't specific about what the deal was, and you're really focusing on how to tell your person. But my question is, have you tried to make it better? If you really love this person intensely, have you tried? Have you gotten into therapy together? Are you clear about what's missing for you? What you want from them that they're not doing? Because if you can be more specific, maybe there's hope for the relationship. I mean, listen, you're worried about this one conversation. How do I tell them if this is the truth? That conversation is going to suck no matter how masterful you are. It's painful. That's it. You're going to hurt someone you love, and it's going to suck, and everyone is going to be hurt. That's how it is. But if it's your truth, if you're not in love with this person, if you want to be on your own, if you want to find someone else, you know what your truth is. So I would be a little bit less concerned about how you're going to tell the person, and perhaps roll up your sleeves and dig in a little bit and see if there's anything that might be able to be shifted or changed or work together or get into therapy or whatever, That is my 2 cents. I hope it was helpful. Moving on to the next question. Well, my question is about giving chances. In the past, people would break up with me or ghost me, and I'd be left not knowing what led to that breakup without being given a chance to make things better, which I imagine is very frustrating. Then after years of therapy, now every time I start a new relationship and I see something incompatible, i.e. the person is being too negative or making inconvenient jokes all the time, or refusing to go see a doctor or a therapist when they're clearly physically or emotionally ill, or even when there is a contradiction between what they say and what they do, unethical behaviors, etc., I try to let the person know and see if they will make a move to change. I try to show them that they matter, and I'm presenting a solution for us to remain together. Then every time I raise a concern, even doing it in a smooth, light, or constructive way, they start feeling threatened that I'm trying to fix them, quote unquote, and why I can't accept them for who they are. So I try a few more times to insist, to the point that I start feeling I'm being the inconvenient one, that I see no way out other than to break up with him. And all I want is to meet a man, not a boy, who is mature and can take care of himself. But that has been, so far, impossible. What's the limit for giving people chances? Is there a less threatening way to approach these issues with a partner? If they show the first time that they're not willing to change, should I just let go right away? Or when is it time to give up? Well, those are all really good questions. But, Isabella, I'd say let's look at, you're the common denominator in all of these things. So let's look for something that might be historical. Because I feel like this is an original injury that if you see the same thing over and over again, it's valuable to ask the secondary gain questions, which I'll include in the guide, terricole.com/guide, which is, what do you get to not face, not feel, or not experience by continually being in relationships with people who you think need improvement? People who they're just not up to par for you. You might get to avoid intimacy, even though it's what you say you want. Like there's a lot to be gained by asking those secondary gain questions, because this is a repeating pattern. And usually those are based on some unresolved something from the past. And then to get back to the here and now, I think that being clear about how you feel, about what you want, is okay. I think it's okay to point out, hey, you said you would call on Friday, but you didn't. I'd just appreciate it if you just do what you say you're going to do, because I'm busy too. And if somebody doesn't like that, I feel like that's okay. But the fact that you're drawing in people who continually do things that you think are unethical or are morally suspect, that says something. So I would say explore the secondary gain questions and see what comes up. And for the rest of you, you can use the secondary gain tool that's going to be in the guide for you anytime you find yourself in a repeated place that you don't want to be. Whether you're repeatedly blowing all your money, whether you're repeatedly in a relationship with unavailable people, whether you say you're going to get in shape, but then you never actually do, you self-sabotage, like all of that, you can use the secondary gain tool that I created to get answers. Because there's something in there. When we find ourselves somewhere repeatedly, there is something in it for us that we're not aware of. It's like the unobvious gain by staying stuck. And a lot of times it's about not wanting to be vulnerable. But again, this is an unconscious process, and the secondary gain questions will help you have access to what might actually be going on under the surface. All right, moving on to the next question. Good morning. I'm a 74-year-old. My husband is 82 and had a second stroke in 2016. Changed our lives dramatically. He's in a wheelchair, has some memory loss. I'm his full-time caregiver and handle all the responsibilities. I wouldn't have it any other way. And her question is this. They are considering independent living situation, which I'm going to talk about quickly to see if that would take a lot of the burden off of her. There's lots of pros, but she's concerned about giving up her independence, right? So because they live in their own home that they like very much. Do you have any advice on how to better look at the decision process? I would go at it from the need. That's the way that I would approach this, is what exactly is the need? Because perhaps you don't need to do this right now. Perhaps you can do this in a year from now. So it sounds like you're ambivalent about doing it, like you can see both ways. And it really is about how you feel. How burnt out are you being a full-time primary caretaker? And only you can answer that. Let's just quickly talk about the difference between assisted living, right? This is if you have difficulty with your daily activities at home. This is the type of living space where people come in and do those things for you. It's like communal living. Independent living is really for individuals who still can live independently, but enjoy having access to assistance, right? So usually in independent living, the communities provide the residents with convenient access to dining and medical care, entertainment, and even more than that. So it's sort of somebody managing the bigger things in your life. And then with Diana's situation, that her husband would be very close to the medical help that he needs as well. So I think that only you're going to know when you're ready for that, Diana. But I would actually start doing lots of research about what is available and affordable in your area, because they're all very different and have very different vibes. So I say really do your research, because that is how you're going to end up somewhere that is the best fit for you and your husband. So I hope that you enjoyed this episode of the Terri Cole Show. It's a little bit different, me answering your questions. I actually really like doing it. So I'd love to know if you guys like it or not. And if you have questions that you'd like me to answer, please email them to support@terricole.com. Thank you so much for all your questions and your comments. I love it, and I love to highlight. You guys know I read them all. I really answer almost every single one that comes in, and I love to highlight them. So today I'm highlighting a comment from Elizabeth Reagan under the video, How to Identify and Manage Your Emotional Triggers. And Elizabeth says, I love your content and the way you explain things. Thank you for helping me take care of myself. After emotional neglect in childhood, I've never learned to attend to my own needs. With your wonderful channel and content, I'm healing and hopefully soon will be thriving. Well, Elizabeth, that really warms my heart. And I love that you are treating yourself better because of the content on this YouTube channel. Because really, that's exactly what this channel is all about. Hopefully, it will give you some information to help you lessen your own suffering and help you elevate your own joy, because that really is my purpose on this planet. Thank you for being with me. And as always, take care of you.